Warning: the content ahead may be frightening or distressing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. If you like this content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We weren't supposed to be there. Our mission was simple: a deep-sea retrieval off the Mariana Trench, recovering a signal from an unmapped depth. Something had been transmitting from 7 miles down, slower than sonar, older than radio, almost organic in rhythm. A pulse, not a beacon. We lowered the submersible, watching it disappear into black water that looked thicker than liquid. Minutes passed, then an hour. Then the cables started vibrating, not from tension, but like something below was plucking them. The winch screamed, the cable snapped, and whatever we'd hooked onto began rising on its own. The ocean boiled. Something enormous surfaced, not with force but with inevitability, as though buoyancy itself bowed to its presence. It was dead, or sleeping, or something in between. A shape too massive and too wrong to process, like a mountain of flesh arranged in patterns that hurt to look at. The moment its body breached the surface, our equipment went silent. Then the sky dimmed. Then the waves flattened. Our world felt, paused, and then the screaming started. Not from the creature, from the crew. They dropped one by one, foaming, convulsing, clutching their heads. But not me. I remained fully conscious. I still don't know why. The body didn't rot. It didn't breathe. It simply existed, like an idea too heavy for reality to hold. Nothing moved. Not the wind. Not the water. Even the clouds looked frozen. The ship's instruments flickered, displaying symbols that weren't part of any language we knew. Diagrams that shifted when I blinked, like geometry trying to remember itself. Hours passed before I realized something was wrong with time. The sun hadn't moved. The shadows hadn't changed length. It was like the world was waiting for something. Then small details began to warp. The railing beside me bent outward, then returned to normal. Footsteps echoed on the deck even when no one walked. The pattern on my sleeve rearranged itself into shapes I didn't recognize. It didn't feel like hallucination. It felt like reality recalibrating, like a dream adjusting to a shift in the sleeper's breathing, and I was the only dreamer awake. By the second day, if it was a day at all, I noticed the changes weren't random. Everything around me was becoming simpler, blurry, under-detailed. The ocean stopped reflecting the sky. The sky lost its gradient. The clouds flattened into textureless smears. I started forgetting small things. What the captain's voice sounded like. The color of my childhood home. How to tie certain knots. Not the memory itself, but the definition of the memory. The edges of it. Like the mental equivalent of fog. Then I found the ship's logbook. The ink was flowing off the pages. Not dripping, lifting, floating like faint black mist, then dissolving into nothing. Reality wasn't breaking. Reality was loosening, like a story whose author had started forgetting the details, like a dreamer beginning to stir. I approached the corpse. It wasn't decaying. If anything, it looked clearer than before, more defined. While everything else blurred, it sharpened. I realized what was happening far too late. This thing, this ancient impossibility, wasn't invading our world. We were living inside its dream, a dream it had been having for eons without knowing it. Just slipping away, the same way morning sunlight dissolves the last fragments of a dream. The creature's presence didn't acknowledge me. There was no eye contact, no telepathy, no recognition. To it, I wasn't even an ant. I was part of the background noise of its imagination, and now the dream was ending. It didn't happen all at once. The ocean blurred first, waves smearing like wet paint. The sky folded into itself, shapes pooling like ink in water. Objects lost their edges as though the world was forgetting what straight lines were. My memories dimmed, not because I was dying, but because the concept of memory itself was thinning. The deck beneath my feet softened, hardened, then trembled, as though physics kept rewriting the rules to match a fading narrative. Even my hands began losing definition. I wasn't fading visually. I was fading conceptually, like my existence was losing its place in whatever story the sleeper had been dreaming. I felt my thoughts stretch thin, the meaning leaking out of them word by word. And through that soft unraveling, one truth settled into me. This wasn't punishment, wasn't judgment, wasn't deliberate. The old God wasn't aware of us. Its awakening wasn't hostile. It was simply indifferent. A sleeper stirring, breathing, shifting. And in that shift, its dream dissolved. Our world dissolved. I wasn't being erased for something I did. I was being unwritten because the story was ending. The sky folded. The ocean peeled away. The ship thinned into translucent lines, and I felt myself slipping. Not falling, not dying, just being let go. A thread pulled loose from a tapestry. The final thing I sensed wasn't sound, but the idea of sound. A breath, soft, ancient, indifferent. The breath of something waking, and then everything ended. Quietly, softly, completely. Like the last echo of a dream the moment its dreamer opens their eyes.